How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, in today's episode, we have breaking news. The Sitzer-Burnett trial has reached its conclusion, and the jury found that the National Association of Realtors is liable for $1.78 billion of damages. We are going to give our reaction and where things go from there. There's really so much to take in. You know, NAR, never going to settle, wasn't going to happen. They fought this thing to the end. By the way, 11-day trial. The jury deliberated for about an hour and a half before they said, okay, let's see the damage sheet. Let's break out the calculator and see how much these home sellers in Missouri are going to get. Shawn, when you heard the news that NAR was found liable, what was your knee-jerk instant reaction?
I was like, this is crazy. There's no way that this could be happening. I didn't think that any way that this was going to happen. And, you know, I wasn't following the trial directly, and I wasn't paying attention to exactly what was happening because I'm busy. But, like, I never thought that they were going to find them guilty.
What about NAR gave you any sort of confidence that they would win? What about this NAR legal team? What about this management with all the sexual harassment and all the chaos and all the backdoor dealings? What about this has given any sort of realtor any sort of confidence that this legal team would actually go out and win? This is a legal team that told the jury to use common sense. You know, the NAR spokesperson sounded like a broken record, saying that, oh, well, the clear cooperation policy is pro-consumer and it's pro, you know, whatever, there is pro-competitive, right? Pro-consumer, pro-competitive. They just sound like a broken record. What about that gave you any sort of confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't have any confidence. I didn't really pay attention, to be honest. But, like, now looking backwards, you know, we have been kicked in the face many times over the last couple of months by NAR, first with the sexual harassment suit. And why should we trust that they're going to hire the right people? I mean, you know, we pay these dues every year to make sure that we have people fighting for us. We are the people on the ground. We are the people that you should be respecting. And you should be thinking of us while you're sitting there, you know, disputing this case. Who are the people that are going to be hurt the most on this? It's the agents. It's the people on the ground. It's not you sitting at NAR that has a job and you could just leave. We are affected for the rest of our lives, for the rest of our careers by this. You can just say, all right, I'm out of here. I'm leaving NAR. I'm going to go to a different corporation. We, as real estate agents, have been sitting here for years working under your umbrella, under your guidance, and now who's it going to hurt? It's us. You know, it's really disheartening, and I could, yeah, it angers me for sure.
Yeah, and, you know, this is instant reaction, and we're recording this on Thursday. By now, you've heard the news. This happened 2 days ago. On Tuesday, of course, there's going to be an appeal as if either its side had won. And speaking of winning, you know, I think the instant reaction is there's only one person that's won this, and that's Michael Ketchmark. That's the lawyer for the homeowners in Missouri. He's the one taking home,
of course,
the big check. He's the one making the victory laps on the talk shows, you know, with a $1.8 billion liability for NAR, for Keller Williams, for Berkshire Hathaway. What do lawyers get? A third of that?
Yeah, why don't we talk about lawyer fees instead of real estate?
Is that a cartel?
That's
Are
a
lawyer
complete
fees
cartel.
a cartel?
That's exactly it. I mean, it's ridiculous how much how long did he work for that? For that millions and millions of dollars that he's making on that. And then what's he going to do? He's going to sue every state. In every state, he's going to make this thing go, right?
So now Douglas Elliman, now Compass, now EXP, these have all been filed. The second that the verdict was finalized, he went ahead and clicked send or whatever, faxed the papers, DocuSign the papers. I don't know how the lawyers do it, but, you know, he's got a couple extra zeros in the bank account now. He can figure out how to do it. By the way, he's not going after the boutique brokerages. He's not going to. So if you're in Missouri, if you're across the United States and you're a home seller and you think, I got to get in on this class action lawsuit, and your real estate agent, you know, was a boutique brokerage, Ketchmark doesn't care about you. Doesn't care about you. He only cares about the big bucks, right?
That's it. They're always going to go after the big bucks. And they're, you know, well, I guess the thing is, all right, they're finding that NAR colluded with these big brokerages, right? That the top end, is that how this is all going down? So that's what's funny. It's like, you know, these brands, like, have I ever met any of the top people at any of these companies that I used to work for? Not really. I mean, I guess I rubbed elbows one time, but like, you know, we as agents don't see that top end. We don't know what goes on that top end. Whatever they're doing, they're doing. I don't know. I don't know that this actually happened. I know that NAR didn't have a great defense, but, you know, I don't know that this is going on. We as agents, we're sitting here doing our job. We're not colluding with anybody. We're not price fixing anything. We're not saying what we need to pay out in commissions. We're down here on the ground every day, and we're in those negotiations with home sellers. We're saying, this is what we suggest you should pay. Hey, you can pay whatever you want. You know, these are negotiable. This is what I charge. This is what we typically put up on the thing. I've never heard of collusion. I've never heard of somebody saying, you need to charge this or else, right? I've never seen that. And so I don't know how it filters down, but, you know, maybe subliminally, I don't know. I really don't. But I've never done it in my career, and I've been doing this for 20 years. So
a federal judge, a federal jury would disagree with you unanimously and fairly quickly. So this isn't an argument of do realtors collude or not, because you know, the jury has spoken and there's an appeal. I'm not out here agreeing or disagreeing. I'm commenting on what NAR should have done or should be doing. Because, by the way, you said you haven't met upper level people. I assume you mean C-level executives, president. Is that what you mean? So, you know, we have breaking news into the show that Bob Goldberg, who was the NAR CEO, is now out. So he was expected to retire at the end of 2014. He's now retiring at the end of November. At the end of this, he's got 30 days left.
Peace out. See, exactly. He's like, you know what? I don't want to go through this crap. I'm out. You know, it doesn't affect him anymore. He's now retiring and done.
But is he out, or did NAR say, listen, you got to go or else we're firing? I don't know.
I don't know.
Doesn't really matter. Well, it could matter if NAR is just kind of giving these parachutes to all their, you know, people in the good boys club.
Yeah. Hey,
you know?
Get out now before you can't get your retirement anymore. Let's get you out.
So NAR has named Nakia Wright interim CEO. By the way, I know nothing about Nakia Wright, and I already like her better than Bob Goldberg. Someone who's been doing this for Bob Goldberg 22 years. By the way, do you know who was in charge when Realtor.com was sold off? Bob Goldberg. He had his hands in that. So
he's the person that has done us probably the most harm over the years.
I don't know if he was the one that pulled the trigger on that, but he was involved in the sale of Realtor.com. From the National Association of Realtors. Well, I can pull up, you know, salaries. And speaking of salaries, you want to talk about General Counsel Katie Johnson. By the way, I don't have anything against these people personally. I'm sure if I was in a room with these individuals, I would find them charming, and maybe that's the reason that they've been able to hold these positions for so long. Katie Johnson, General Counsel, making $900,000 per year. NAR just lost a $1.8 billion lawsuit. I think it might be time for Katie Johnson to step down. I think that should be the next person. How, like, imagine you're a sports team and, you know, you go to I don't even want to call it a Super Bowl, but you play your season, and then at the end of the season, you find out that everything that you could have done wrong, you go wrong. Every single like, there's sexual harassment. There's, you know, possible collusion, right? There's all these things that can go wrong, and then no one gets fired. The head coach stays the same. The GM stays the same. No, in the NFL, they fire you after 4 games if you don't win. So, you know, the fact that Katie Johnson, General Counsel, making $900,000 per year, if this person, by the way, not a personal attack, could be anyone out there. I want whatever the expression. I don't want to say the expressions heads will roll, because I don't like that expression. But whatever the expression is, to have brand new management across the board for the dumpster fire that is the office in Chicago, that needs to happen.
Yeah, Matt is fired up right now. I love it.
Well, we pay our dues. What do we pay our dues for? And do we pay our dues to lose lawsuits? Is that what we pay our dues for? If these individuals are supposed to be representing the best interests of realtors, how can they still have a job with the National Association of Realtors when they lose a lawsuit like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's you're absolutely right, and it should piss everybody off. And, you know, how many times can we be mad about these situations that our association is doing wrong? I mean, sexual harassment, losing a huge deal like this, colluding with other companies. And I keep going back to this, but like, who does this affect the most? Who does it affect the most? It doesn't affect NAR. Well, it's going to, but the trickle down effect is us on the ground. You know, we're here working our butts off every single day, trying to make a living. And I said the other day, I'm like, I work every day. This job will get into your personal life. You know, anytime you're with your kids, if somebody calls, you got to answer that phone. At night, you got to answer the phone. I mean, I've been working straight for a couple of weeks now, and it's every day. And, you know, my hard work then goes to now I don't want to, like, a tainted kind of view, right? It's like, oh, you guys colluded to try to keep your commissions up, and you're the problem, you know? And meanwhile, I'm just sitting here working my butt off trying to make a living, you know? I don't know. I mean,
so you know, Ketchmark ate Katie Johnson's lunch, right? You know, Katie Johnson said, you know, hey, we don't collude. Realtors work together, you know, to find the best price. And, you know, not Mantel Williams, Ketchmark, you know, he won the $1.8 billion lawsuit as of now. So Katie Johnson can say all day long that, you know, two realtors working together, one for the buyer, one for the listing agent is the way it should be and the way it's always been done, and it's how it should work. You know, that the facts say otherwise. The judge, the jury, you know, says otherwise. So now the question I want to know, Shawn, is where do we go from here? Because if Ketchmark was listening to you right now and saying, you know, you work your butt off, he I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he'd probably say you've been working your butt off colluding. And that's not an attack on you, but that's just an attack on how like, don't hate the player, hate the game. Just an attack on the industry. But one of the things that Ketchmark, that has been this sticking point that I want to get to, is sale prices, right? So inflated commissions. So NAR, Keller Williams, Berkshire Hathaway, by the way, you know, Anywhere Real Estate had settled, Remax had settled, so they're not in the equation, but KW, Berkshire Hathaway, Home Services, and NAR colluded to inflate the real estate commissions. So when you say inflate the realtor commissions, that those commissions are part of the sales price. And so, you know, a large part of this argument is that if commissions are inflated into the sales price and realtors are working together to inflate those and to keep those high, then you remove a commission. Well, then, hey, if you have A plus B plus C, sales price plus 2 commissions, you take away 1 commission, well, that could mean that possibly a home sale, the home prices could go down. Shawn, what are your thoughts on the people that say home prices could go down if you remove the buyer agency commission?
Okay, so I think you're just taken from Paul and, you know, given to Peter. It doesn't matter, because if it comes down on one side, who's going to pay for it on the other side? Either people are going to go unrepresented, or they're going to start paying for it, or we're going to find a way to pay buyers agents. It's like, all right, do you want to go to trial with a lawyer, a good lawyer, and win a case, or do you want to go with a lawyer or by yourself and lose a case? And this is what's going to start happening. You know, the biggest fear for this, the biggest problem with this, is buyer representation. And these are big purchases. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in your home purchase. So when you're not represented by somebody that knows how to do this stuff, you are then putting yourself at risk. And that's just like a lawyer representing their client. If you have a great lawyer and they're going to bat for you and they know the system and they know what to do, they know what to say, they know how to get things done, and they're going to win that case for you, you're not going to jail. You're not paying the $1.8 billion. But if you don't, and you represent yourself, or you pull back on how much you want to pay that person, or I don't really want to get that guy, you lose. You lose the $1.8 billion. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to these buyers. What are they going to do? They're going to lose the house, or they're going to find themselves in a situation where they bought a house that they shouldn't have, or they're going to be not represented. And who are they going to sue then? You know, who's going to, you know, where are they going to find? It goes back to the days of sub-agency. I keep going back to this, but, you know, back then, everybody complained that the buyers had no representation, that there was nobody helping the buyer out. Everybody was against them and going just for the seller. Well, now we changed the system. It's been working for a while. And now what do we see? We see it going back to the days of old. Like, all right, well, sorry, I'm not working for free. So how are you going to be represented? Maybe you go to a flat fee system. Maybe you go to those commissions do come down. Now, what happens though? You have, call it whatever the commission is on right now. All right, we cut out the buyer agency commission. Do prices fall? It depends. I don't think it's going to fall right away or, automatically. I mean, what about competition? What about the people that are paying that don't care? They want the house. They're going to pay more. In a competitive, low inventory situation, I don't think prices are falling, right? And so in the future, if they do fall, what's that? Who's that hurt? The home sellers, the people that purchased. All right, now they paid X amount of dollars, bought a new home, and now their prices fall. Is that helping the home sellers at all? No, it's not helping anybody. But I understand that commissions can be pretty high. And are they super high on some of these houses to sell? Of course. Is it worth it? In some instances, probably not. But in most cases, it is. And we work our butts off to earn that stuff. And that, I've gotten into conversations on Instagram about this and stuff. And people are like, oh, well, that's your job. That's your job. Well, yeah, it is my job. I work every day and I do this job really well and I deserve to get paid for it. And you know what? If I'm not going to be paid for it, I'm not going to do it. I'll represent the seller and, the buyers can do their own thing. I love representing the seller. But I don't think it's going to help the industry at all. I think it's going to hurt it.
So you said a lot there.
Yeah, sorry about that. I kind of went off on a couple tangents.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what I want to follow up on. First of all, there was something in there about buyers and buyer remorse and who are they going to sue. Buyers have buyer remorse whether they use an agent or not use an agent. So I don't think an argument about buyers are going to buy a house that they don't know has problems. And then the amount of buyers that use an agent and get a home inspection and then still have buyer remorse is pretty staggering in itself. So I don't think that's a solid argument. But what I will say, no one likes paying high fees. So now there is the potential for sellers to pay less fees. So will fewer fees be better for the seller? I mean, imagine you're selling $1 million house and you don't have to pay a buyer agent commission. That could be $25,000. You could be saving $25,000, or it's some sort of hybrid or hourly sort of situation. I mean, what's the downside of a seller paying less fees?
No, it's great on the seller side. I agree. I mean, that's something to look forward to as a seller, that you're not paying the higher fees, and maybe we do push that off to the buyer. It seems logical. We just got to figure out how the buyer agency is going to be paid. Are they going to remove a regulation that allows for, just like title fees, realtor fees on that side, to be lumped in with a loan? Maybe that's what they have to do in order to make sure that the buyers are represented. Or you're going to have low fee situations. And who's going to be doing those low fee situations? I don't think super experienced realtors are going to do it for $1,000. It's not going to happen, because you know how much time goes into that? You're going to be making $10 an hour. So I think the representation, it could be good. We're just going to see a different storm of real estate on that side. It might be an opportunity for new businesses to come out where it's just like this buyer representation company that just represents buyers. I don't know. I don't know where it goes from here.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think Ketchmark's overall aura or his theme was, the person that you pay is the person you hire. And so sellers who are paying a buyer broker didn't hire that buyer broker to negotiate against them. Now, whether I, agree with that or not is not really relevant, but his whole thing is, hey, whoever you pay is who you hire, and sellers are paying people to negotiate against them. You had mentioned, NAR and what will that look like? So my question, first of all, should decoupling happen, right? Should decoupling, where decoupling means like real estate agents have to be a member of the National Association of Realtors, of these smaller organizations, in order to access the MLS. So there's this string that attaches all of these realtor organizations in order for us to even do business. I renewed my membership. I clicked on auto renew, and then I didn't read it closely, and I get the email receipt. All of a sudden, I paid an extra like $45 optional fee for lobbying efforts, which clearly have failed drastically. So Shawn, should decoupling happen? Can we leave NAR, and what will that look like for the 1.5, 1.6 million members that are currently a part of NAR?
Yeah, you should decouple it. Why should a real estate realtor that belongs to NAR have any easier ability to show a house than somebody that isn't, that has gone through the real estate agency or, gotten their license? One thing about real estate companies and agents is, what do? They keep things sticky for you, right? They don't want you to leave, so they embed themselves in your business. They embed themselves in your email addresses or your websites or things like that. So this is how agents keep you, because it's harder to leave, right? And so what does NAR do? Well, they're making it sticky for people to leave too, because what do you have to get through that? You need your central lock. Okay, well, how do I open doors without it? I need to become a member. That's how they pull these memberships in. If it wasn't the case, there wouldn't be 1-point-something million realtors. It would be a lot less than that. So they have to do things like that to keep their membership high. If you decouple, people are going to leave. And agencies are leaving already. Redfin already announced that they're leaving. Or they're trying to. And so I think as we see the buyer agency stuff go, we're going to see a lot of different stuff go. And that is going to be the National Association of Realtors.
I don't understand why I'm a member of the National Association of Realtors if they cannot articulate why a buyer agency commission, exists and should be paid for, the way in its current situation. So if they can't articulate that to the jury in the $1.8 billion lawsuit, I'm out. I'm Shark Tank. I'm Mark Cuban. I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't understand. This is now where the part is. I don't understand where my dues are going towards. I don't understand why I need to be a part of this organization. So you're talking about an organization with 1.5, 1.6 million members. I mean, that's got to be dropping in half. I mean, if NAR even exists in a couple of years, what that's going to look like, because where's the money coming from? Like, who's going to pay the $1.8 billion? And yes, I know there's going to be appeals for years, and NAR is working on getting this number lower. But are you telling me we're going to get a special assessment on dues? Is that how we're coming up with this money? Because what are the repercussions if I say no? What is Century Lock Police going to come after me?
Yeah, and at whose fault? I mean, at whose cost is this all happening? Again, it goes down to us, right? It all funnels down to us. That's the problem. We pay these people. We pay the dues. And yes, $1.8 billion is going to come from the 1-point-something million members in due increases. It has to. I mean, do they have money sitting aside to pay for this stuff? Or, I mean, I don't know how this is all paid for over the years or whatever, but it's got to come out from what we're doing here. And the thing is, did we as agents do anything wrong? I mean, I know I didn't do anything wrong, right? I mean, the thing that drives me crazy is, like, they equated things to sales tactics, right? There are a lot of sales agencies, like there's sales people all throughout this world. Everybody takes these classes on how to do sales, right? Oh, you got to say this and then say this. This is the script to use, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I guess I use my own scripts just by doing this for 20 years, but I've never taken somebody else's script and said, I'm going to implement this into my thing. It's the same thing with cold calling, right? Like, I have never cold called. I'm not a salesman in that way. I'm a salesman in marketing. I'm a salesman in preparing a home for sale. That's how I sell houses: preparation and attraction, not by a script and not by, oh, I'm Mr. Salesman. I don't think realtors are, we're salesmen in a way, but I don't think we're the salesman that people drive down and think, oh, that's like a used car salesman. It doesn't work that way. You can't sell a client into a house and like they're going to just on a whim go buy this house because you said it was cool. It doesn't happen that way, right? I mean, like, yes, you can show them the good things about the house. Yes, you can say the right things to get them excited about a house, but in the end, they have to be excited about the house. And I just feel like the sales tactics that they feel that we are pushing on people, or the way that we're pushing it on as getting a commission, is just false. And here's another thing is, you were talking about commissions coming down, but hasn't there always been competition, especially in the last 10 years in real estate, about commissions coming down? there has been competition. Redfin was one of the #1 companies that started reducing commissions. And so we saw that competition worked and the things started coming down. So that has always been working. It's already been working. And so it's going to continue to do that with, this new ruling.
Do you think those salaried agents for Redfin that have changed to commission-based are like, yo, put me back on the salary?
100%, man. That's the thing is, like, Redfin agents were salaried. Now they're thinking, all right, well, we need to recruit more agents. We're going to go to the commission-based. Good luck, guys. I mean, when people are handing you leads, it's really easy. And when you got to search for your own leads, it's a lot harder. This is a tough business to be in 100% commission. When you're salaried and you've got healthcare taken care of, hey, a lot easier. But man, from what I understand, they're working them to death,
Shawn, there's a saying that says not see the forest for the trees, It goes, maybe you can't see the forest for the trees. So imagine that analogy. And you say things like, you don't collude, you don't price fix, you don't do these things that NAR is being accused of. And I think you interviewed every realtor, they would all say the same thing. But when I'm kind of stepping outside of my body, maybe all these realtors are, in this forest and, they're not seeing the forest for the trees. And even though each one of them are saying individually, hey, we're not doing these things, when you take, the microscope out and you're like, whoa, actually, there's a larger game played and the system is rigged, as Ketchmark would say.
I mean, you could be right. I mean, we've just been playing this game all my career. For 20 years, it's been the same way. And so,
but that doesn't mean that it's the right thing just because it's been for 20 years.
You're right. I mean, is there a better way to do it? I don't know. We'll figure that out. I think that's the main thing is, there has to be bumps in the road like this to then figure things out. I don't think we need to start crying here and act like we're not going to make any money anymore, because there's always, where there is demand, there's going to be payment. And so don't freak out right now just because this lawsuit came down and you think you're not going to represent any more buyers. The opportunities are going to be there, and they're going to be there for a while. And I think as, maybe commissions come down a little bit or maybe things shake out, there's going to be other opportunities that open up. So don't go crying in your basement that you're not going to make any money next year. The inventory is really tight, and, people are going to say, I need representation to get me that place. And that's what you have to use in your advantage. Use the lack of inventory, your knowledge as a real estate agent to make yourself money. I mean, that's what we do, right? You have to show your expertise. You have to show your knowledge in the neighborhood and represent your buyers to the best of your ability. And the thing is, there's a lot of, I got a comment the other day on my Instagram that was like, you guys make way too much money. Well, you don't do anything. You don't do anything. And I took offense to that. I was like, I get pissed, I'm like, I want to tell this guy what I really mean. And the thing is, if he would see and spend a day with me to see how much we actually do, and I feel that we as higher level agents do way more than people think we do. I mean, we're not just taking pictures and throwing a thing up on the market and letting it go. I mean, we're doing high level marketing with everything. We're doing video. We're doing, and so that's how you're going to differentiate yourself as a buyer agent, as a listing agent. So I guess my point is, don't go crying right now. Chill out. As real estate agents, we got to work together. We're a big community. We got to stick together. No colluding.
Yeah, careful.
No colluding.
Work together, but don't collude.
That's it. We've always worked together. And I think, I meet so many really good agents all the time. We have great conversations. It's a community. We are a community because we go through this crap together. We know what it's like to have to deal with a client on one side that just can't keep their mind straight, or they're going nuts because, they're getting this house and now all of a sudden, the sky's falling. There's a lot that we have in common that we can talk about, and I think we're going to get through this fine.
So you mentioned the person on Instagram that was commenting said you didn't do anything. By the way, if someone on the internet is wrong, I also like to inform them that they are incorrect. So because you said that, we had another agent on the show, Compass agent Coral Goodluck, who had mentioned reality TV shows, right? So my question to you, Shawn, is what roles do you think that Selling Sunset, Buying Beverly, and $1 Million Listing have played in almost creating the narrative of you need more cleavage than you do real estate knowledge.
Yeah, it's totally destroyed the reality of real estate. I mean, that's the thing is they call it reality TV, but we all know that reality TV is not reality. There's nothing real about it. This is all fake bull. And, you know, yeah, you're going to have your glitzy agents that can sell multi-million-dollar properties. But, you know, I see a lot of agents that, you know, think they're doing great. And they're like, oh, look at this house, look at this house. And I look up their numbers. And I'm like, you sold 5 houses this year. You know, like, yeah, they were $4 million, $2 million, but you sold 5. You know, we're doing 50 homes, you know, it's a lot of homes. So it's like, and it's destroyed it in the fact that everything that they're showing on these shows is a multi-million-dollar home. And then you get these people that have to have their Gucci and they have to have this. Yeah, we wear nice suits, right? But I mean, this one I got it like, I got it Macy's for
You're always
$150.
bragging about your Macy's suits.
But it's true. It's like, I'm not going to go spend $2,000, $3,000 on a suit. And it's just like these people on TV. I got my Lamborghini. I got this. I got my Lambo. I got this. You know, yeah, you're also an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, you don't represent us. You represent a TV show that is being pushed. And, you know, half the time, are you really doing the sale on this? No, it's all for TV. So you have to be careful in, you know, comparing these agents that are on TV to the actual agents that are doing this for a $150,000 house, a $300,000 house, a $600,000 house. We ain't selling $4 million homes for the majority of us, right? The majority of the $1.5 million real estate agents are making how much per year? 60 grand?
58.
$58,000. That guy's making it in one commission. It just doesn't happen that often, and that's what you have to remember. Yes, there are agents that are making tons of money, but there's the majority of them are making nothing. And it's just like any other business. It's just like car salesmen. It's just like lawyers. It's just like any business. There are always going to be people that are making a ton of money because they found their niche. They found a way to get in. But for the majority of us, it's a hard-working grind that we go through every day to earn our dollar.
So, Shawn, for the people out there that are watching that may be purchasing a home in the next year or months or a couple of years, or maybe they're looking to sell a home, what should they be taking away from this? Because it was interesting. The first day that this came out, it was posted all on like Realtor websites, and now it's made its way to the CNBCs, to the CNNs, to the Fox Newses, and so now I'm getting people that have reached out and been like, "Hey, you need to check out this story." I'm like, "Yeah, I know about the story. Like, believe me, like, you know, clients and whatnot." So,
yeah.
You know, if you're buying a house, are you going to be worried about affording an agent? And then if you're selling, maybe this is an opportunity. Maybe you can put a lower than a lower commission that maybe agents haven't seen in a while. You know, the lawsuit says, oh, average commission 6%. Haven't seen 6% in a while. But if you're going to pay out, let's say, half of what you would normally pay out, like if you went to a listing appointment and said, hey, these are my fees, and then the seller said, I want to pay out X dollar. I want to pay out your fee divided by 2, divided by 4 to the buyer agent because I saw this story on Fox News. Are we going to see that? Because right now, I mean, heck, there's new construction developments out there that pay out 1%.
Yeah.
That pay out $10,000. That pay out $7,500, which is arguably a lot less than maybe other new construction communities. So if you want to pay out less, fine. So do you think we're going to see more sellers experiments with a lower than usual commission?
Yes, you are. You're going to start seeing it. It's going to happen. So on a sell side, I think it's fear. As a listing agent, you might have that fear of just saying, all right, well, what's going to happen? I've put all this time and effort. And I'm talking on a list, like I just listed 2 houses this morning, right? I put so much work already into those. Like I have been working not for, you know, a week since I signed the listing agreement and we're going on the market. This has been 6 months since I signed the listing agreement. I've had contractors over there, blah, blah, blah. So my fear is I don't know what the reaction is going to be in the market, right? So if you put it as, you know, X amount for the commission, will that have a negative effect on the sale? I don't know. I don't know that. And I think that's the experiment. So you're going to have sellers that are like, all right, can we try this at X%? Okay, well, let's try it and see what happens. But if it doesn't sell, then what are we going to do? why isn't it selling? So what happens in this is like, this is the reality. When you sit on the market for a while, what do people say? Like if you're a listing and you've been on for 50
What's
days,
wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with this house? Why is it not selling? So what if that happens? I'm just throwing it out there. You put it in at a lower commission and then it doesn't sell, but there's nothing wrong with the house. Well, why didn't it sell? Because it's a lower commission? I don't know. But I mean, what buyer agents are going to have to start doing is in their agreements saying, I work for this. This is what I work for. And this is what you need to pay me. And maybe it's an hourly thing. You know, maybe it comes to an hourly thing. And hey, if you want me to come and show you this property, you got to start thinking that I'm $250 an hour, right? So if I'm coming there, that's $250 every time I show a house, right? Like maybe that's what you're worth. I don't know what your value is. But I don't know where else going with this.
No, I have so many thoughts because I see on these online realtor Facebook groups, people are saying, you don't know how buyer agents work. I show 9 houses. I'm doing all these things for my clients. Well, maybe if you value yourself a little higher, maybe if you had a retainer fee, you'd be showing houses in your client's budget. Maybe if you charge per showing, you'd be showing houses that your client actually wanted to see and not houses that your client wanted to shop. So I think there's a big difference there. By the way, I was doing a video for Mike Baffa's $4 million McLean listing. I look it up, paying out 3%, paying out $120,000. You know what else? You know what else is in the commission? A bonus, a 10% bonus.
Yeah.
But I asked my brother, I was like, do bonuses really matter? And he's like, I don't know. But if I was showing 2 houses, both of them paying out the same commission, and then one had a $10,000 bonus, I don't care. I don't care. I want my client, just buy one of them. Yeah. Just I will advise you if both of the houses work for you, I'll recommend both. If neither of them work, I'll recommend neither. But a little 10K sprinkle is not going to make a difference.
Yeah, I've always said that. I got a bonus one time. I didn't even know they were paying out a bonus. That's the stupidest thing to do. I don't think but that goes to show you. That goes to show you right there that maybe we're wrong, right? Maybe we're wrong in the fact that, we feel that the commission should be paid, whatever percent. Because my fear was always like, I don't want to be the experiment. I don't want my client to be the experiment and then sit on the market and then they're pissed at me because it's not selling. Well, why isn't it selling? Well, it's because you weren't paying a commission to the buyer agency. I mean, that's a real fear that could happen, right? But at the same time, maybe that's just an inflated fear on our minds that says, all right, well, let's try it and see what happens. Let's make these buyer agents get a firm agreement with their clients and say, this is what I'm worth. I'm going to pay it. You're going to pay it or else I'm not going to represent you. I'm going to sit at home and enjoy my life.
So experiment. I have a courthouse condo, best deal on the orange line right now. 2 beds, 2 baths, $570,000. It's paying out what, 2.5%, Shawn? What's 2.5% of $570,000? So 2.5% is $14,000. That's not nothing. 14 grand. A lot of people out there that could use 14 grand. What if I put in the commission? It's 5%. What if I just gave away all my commission and said, bonus, this is a commission? Heck, I'd even do, well, no, if I did a closing cost, that's different than this commission argument. So now instead of 14,000, 28,000, which for a $570,000 condo is usually twice what you would expect.
Yeah.
You think anyone's going to show it?
No, because, well, here's the thing is, I don't search by commission.
Well, what if I like relisted it and put it as like the first thing where I literally said commission is $28,000?
Well, what's going to happen though?
I don't know.
Most buyer agents are going to be like, all right, $28,000 commission. And then the buyer's going to see it and they're like, well, you going to give me some of that? Then yeah, probably. Yeah, that'll probably happen. That's exactly what's going to happen.
And then we should have just dropped the price in the first place.
Right. And this is what I always say about like listing your property and like saying, oh, I'm going to give you a $5,000 credit, or I'm going to give you closing costs of this. No, drop your price, $5,000, because it doesn't matter if you say it in the thing. They want to see it on the price.
Okay.
The price matters.
Well, then did you just prove your own point of home sales falling if you remove a commission?
Home sales, it could happen. Yeah. I mean, like, well, if a seller doesn't have to pay the X amount of dollars, then they have the luxury of saying, all right, well, maybe I will pull it down a little bit. But will they? They'll be like, well, our last comp sold for this, so why shouldn't I price it for that? Let's try it, right? It's just like everything else. Let's try to get that price that one sold for 3 months ago, even though it was paying a commission. And we're going to try to get it. And you know what? In a market where it's an increasing high demand market, you're going to get it.
By the way, the new construction, $4 million. The agent will make $120,000. Some people out there would say, hey, that's too much. I would say your worth is equated to the value of the problems that you're able to solve. Finding a buyer for a $4 million property is a hard problem to solve compared to a $400,000 property. A lot fewer people out there can afford to buy a $4 million house. But my question is, Shawn, what if the builder who's going to be paying out $120,000, what if they just drop the price $100,000 and then just gave a $20,000 commission? Because that way, you drop it under 4, you're still paying out a commission. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
by the way, you drive through the neighborhood, every other house is going up. We're filming, Kurt's running over to the construction crew. Hey man, can y'all stop drilling for just like a second? We got to film. They're just, they're just staring at them.
Yeah.
They're just doing all these pantomimes.
I got a foundation to pour. I don't care about you shooting a video.
I don't care about our video.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the higher priced properties are harder to sell. They're more difficult to sell. You're going after a small niche of people that can actually afford this. It's just like, should a luxury plane seller, seller of these planes make more than the guy that's selling model airplanes? Of course. It's harder to sell a dang plane than it is a model plane, right? So that's where this whole thing comes in. It's a lot harder to find these buyers. It's a lot harder. And not only that, those buyers are a lot more particular. They want something that you couldn't even think of wanting, right? They want it. But can that help you, or can it help the sell? Sure, I think it can, because what you could get is an unrepresented buyer. But then what happens? That unrepresented buyer better know what they're doing, or hire somebody, a lawyer or something at that point to, kind of represent them, and they're going to pay the lawyer. So you're going to pay a lawyer per hour fee. Why not pay a real estate agent?
If you're liking this discussion, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, comment down below, subscribe. We're going to be, giving updates. We're going to upload this video as soon as possible. By the way, there might be another breaking news by the time we get around to uploading it. Shawn, I want to end with this, kind of my biggest takeaways. And, I almost want you to disagree with me if you feel like I'm not trying to rally you up, but I want to share my thoughts on what I, as a realtor, and maybe I think some things need to change. I mean, the first thing is NAR has categorically failed its members. This is why we pay dues. This is why we pay Katie Johnson $900,000 a year. This is why we pay Bob Goldberg, $2 million a year, who just, will retire early. NAR has failed. They've failed their members significantly. The landscape of NAR will change dramatically in the next months and couple of years. The next thing is that seller fees are going to go down. In our area, they're around 5%. I do 5%. Shawn almost got in a fight over commissions at a bar one time because they disagreed on commissions. We don't have to get into that, but it just goes to show you that it's not standard. Shawn's getting in a fist fight at a bar over a couple different thoughts on commissions, because he's standing up for his value for commissions, which are always negotiable. But I do think commissions will be pushed down significantly. Everyone hates the real estate agent. Everyone wants the real estate agent to kind of go away. They think there's a middleman involved. And you know what? You're going to get what's coming to you. You're going to have to buy a house on your own. Everyone says, hey, if I can buy a car on a website, I can buy a house, without, paying an agent. Why not? Fine. Good. Great. Go for it. Grand. Wonderful. Go for it. It's going to happen. And, I wish you the best of luck. And I mean that, genuinely, because sometimes the pendulum has to swing in the opposite direction in order for change to happen. And, like you, this isn't doom and gloom. I don't want anyone to feel sad for us. I don't want anyone in the comments to play the world's smallest violin. I'm not complaining, because agents and brokers like myself and Shawn that provide a tremendous amount of value to our clients, we're not worried about this, because there have always been, headwinds in the real estate industry. There have always been, storms brewing as a real estate agent and as a broker. And just like those that we've navigated in the past, we're going to navigate this one. Whether we can't see the storm that's happening and the big waves that are crashing, right in front of us. We're going to figure out a way to get through this. It may look drastically different. Our pay scale may change significantly, but when you add value and you have these relationship with clients for a lifetime that see you as a valuable member of the transaction, I think you're going to be paid and compensated justly.
100%. You said it really well. And there's two things that I'll take out of that. There are always things in our real estate career that are bumps in the road. We always have to transition in what we're doing. There's been difficulties that we've gotten over. There's been the crash of 2008 that we got through. Man, I had no money at that point in my life, and I was like struggling. I had 2 different jobs and I was working through it. And that's the thing, is we have to work through these things. If you're supplying value, you're going to win. The more value that you can show as a real estate agent, the better off you're going to be. And that's why we do everything professionally. We are pushing to make our listings look the best that we can every single time. We're staging them every single time. We're getting professional photography. I'm making sure that that house looks perfect. My clients don't want to paint it. I'm painting it. I'm getting it done because it needs it. And I know what it takes to sell a property. So do you. As agents, provide that value and you're going to survive. The people that don't, it's going to weed a lot of people out of this business. A lot of people. And that's the thing, is the good times always float all boats. The bad times, it's rough. But you know what? I'm having, in one of the hardest years this year, I'm having one of my best years. And that's because I stuck with my guns, I continue to market, and I provide value. And that's what's going to get you business in the future.
More updates to come. Be sure you're subscribed. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already. Drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts. For Shawn and myself, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Stay strong.
Cheers.